If I name with a pata $500 no go there. If I can't free, it could be again and say free.
Good day. My name is Godwin Emilog, and I welcome you to the Unscripted Voices podcast. This is a podcast that brings you real stories and experiences of immigrants who live and work in Western societies. Stories of struggles, of hard work, family, love, blood, and sweat, sacrifices, and victories. Today, I want to talk to you about traveling abroad. Stick with me to the end, and this episode may change your life too. Whenever people come to talk to me about Japa, I always ask them one question. That question is always, why do you want to relocate? The answer I get from this question determines the direction the conversation goes. More often than not, people want to Japa because Nigeria is hard though. I don't hustle, know they pay. You see, your reason for relocating will have a direct impact on your success or failure when you arrive at your destination. How so, you may ask? Come with me on this journey as I aim to reveal to you why some immigrants are frustrated at their destinations and most of them are unable to move forward. Most of them are regretting why they even traveled in the first place. Most are stranded. Do you know that some of your family members that you're so upset with over their inability to make funds available to you as you hoped are themselves praying and fasting for breakthrough? Some are literally stranded at where they are. You see, there are usually various routes for traveling overseas, but for the sake of this video, I will name a few. Maybe the major one. The first one is the skilled migration. The second one is the family visas. This allows spouses to unite with each other, kids to join their parents, or parents to join their kids. We have the study route, we have the visiting visa, we have the diplomat visa. The skilled migration visas are always classified into permanent resident or temporary resident visas. Under this visa class, we always have the employer-sponsored permanent and temporary visas too, or like they are called in some countries, just work visa. Family visas allow immediate family members to reunite with a family member who is a citizen or a temporary or permanent resident of a country. Study visas allow the visa holder to study in a country of issue, and some of these visas allow for limited work rights to the visa holder. Visiting or visitor visas are always classified under tourist, business, or family visit visas, and they allow you to either tour the country, carry out business activities, or visit your family members temporarily. These visas are always granted with an end date and duration of stay, clearly written on your grant notice or your visa vignette, and your work responsibilities are attached to it. The problem here is that most people who want to Japa do not even know the visa type that suits their travel plan. Most people do not even know the country where they want to relocate to. Some people just throw a blanket and won't go any European country without acknowledging that most European countries do not speak the English language. You will know the idea that most European countries do not have clear-cut pathways that lead to permanent residency and may not even have liberal work rights. Some people want to go to Canada, but they are unaware of the prevailing economic situations, the harsh cold weather, and the part of the country they want to go to. So you see what happens is that some people arrive on these shores of this country, and then they are stranded from the day they arrive because they were not prepared for what they met. But before we get there, let's backtrack a little. You remember when I said I always ask what is the reason for wanting to relocate? That is why I asked that question. You see, if you are in a habit of agent hunting, scouring the internet, the Twitter, Facebook, and everywhere, looking for an agent who is willing to do a visa for you, you will definitely find an agent that will tell you that you can earn 500,000 naira in Vietnam. But what this agent will not tell you is that 500,000 naira, out of it, you have to pay 300,000 naira as your rent, and you have to eat and pay other bills. You see, right at to the probably you're earning 50k, and if you compare that to 500k, that's like 10 times more. Your current earnings, like when you do the calculation, you realize, that you can actually pay your mom 50K stipend a month and then help your siblings who are in school. But what you don't realize that Vietnam do not speak the English language, and there's no work there. Ask those who have gone. And you quickly sell all your belongings, bid your family and friends farewell, and jump on the next flight heading to Vietnam. But what you've never not asked is what type of visa it is. Sometimes you ask them and they tell you, it's a visiting visa, but once you get there, they will change it for you to a work visa, because there's this company that will sponsor you and they will give you accommodation and they will give you feeding, and so on and so forth. Then you cannot believe your luck. God has finally answered that prayer. That your December prayer that you made at that mountain, whichever mountain it is that you go to, God has answered it. But then when you realize that you're in trouble is when you get there, you realize that you're unable to help yourself. Back home in Nigeria, that your 50K was able to help you because you could eat at home, share a room with your brother, and then you can basically live in your parents' house. Oh, God, so you say. Not everyone goes to Vietnam. Well, that's true. But let's also talk about those who go to Canada, to Australia, to UK, to US, and so on and so forth. You know how it's done. You only have 250K, and that school requires $5,000 deposit of £5,000, and it will take you 15 years to save it in your current circumstances. But you go around somehow, some way, people rally around you, and you afford to pay that $5,000 or £5,000, and then you make that deposit. You get your cars, lodge your visa, and it comes out. Somehow you manage to get the proof of fund done. And you borrow money for your flight, and then you arrive at London Heathrow. Finally, I'm at the promised land. Is it promised land yet? Well, nobody told you that you have to do a double shift and probably work against your visa conditions for you to be able to make your complete school fees payment. Severally, you're behind schedule on your payment plan, and you begin to receive threatening emails from your school. Your school is threatening to report you to the home office. Now stress has set in, real stress, because you haven't completed your school fees yet. You're living with annoying housemates, so annoying that you cannot have peace at home. At your job, you stand 12 hours every day, and you had to even lie to get that job. Your school paper is due, and you're thinking of writing to your lecturer to give you an extension so you can be able to turn it in. And your school does not understand your request for payment extension because you gave them proof of fund, proving that you have enough resources to sustain yourself and pay all your school fees throughout the duration of your study. But somehow, your family members in Nigeria do not understand why you have not sent them money for a new roof or to buy a new car, because Frank, who traveled 3 months ago to Turkey, is now building a bungalow in the village and has bought his parents that new SUV that your parents also want. In Nigeria, you always turn up late to that 200K a month job because you were the boss. But in the UK, you have to memorize every bus and train timetable, because once you miss one, you'll be late for work and you won't clock in on time. And that means that your pay will be cut. And if it happens a bit more, it becomes a performance issue. Stress, more stress, okay. In Nigeria, you always enjoy the comfort of your cozy king-size bed. But here, you make do with a king single bed in a tiny room, and that is even when you get to sleep at home. Who knew that night work was not only for night guards? Did I talk about the rain and the cold weather? In those bitter winter mornings, you reevaluate your choices and ask yourself, who sent me? Who sent me? Shall I just stay where I did? You want to hear more? I will tell you more. Just pay attention. You see, the point is that while you want to travel, you should make sure that you make all reasonable effort to understand the terrain and the landscape of the country or environment where you're relocating to. Because in that capitalist society that is not yours, that does not have your mother or your father or your siblings or your best interests at heart, that HR is ready to send you the termination letter at a moment's notice. And then that's when you begin to realize that you are alone, very much alone. Back home, you are the educated boss who gave orders, There in the UK, you're bossed around by a high school graduate who you very much know that you're smarter than. Again, you evaluate your choices. Yes, that is why I ask you why you want to relocate. Because if you don't get this right, if your reasons are not cogent for wanting to relocate, you'll be frustrated by these events. Life is not easy out there. Most immigrants end up starting from the bottom of the ladder, no matter the number of years they've put in their career. You will hear that most health workers, nurses, and doctors who are in the middle of the peak of their careers always end up starting from the bottom. You hear stories of bankers who became cleaners. Most people do jobs that they would not even consider in their wildest dreams to do in Nigeria. Because in Western society, bills do not care if you have a job. Bills do not care if you're a big man back home. In fact, the day you arrive, your bills begin to pile up. In Nigeria, you can borrow credit from MTN. But in that society, once your subscription ends, that is it. In Nigeria, you can settle NEPA people and then leave your light alone for a while. In that society, your light bill comes, you have to pay for it, or you'll be in darkness. This is a reality most people do not anticipate or plan for until they arrive, and that reality hits them. One statement I've continually made to every immigrant I've met is, do not forget the reason for deciding to leave everything behind. Because when the chips are down, it's those reasons that will keep you going. Finally, if you're hatching your plan to join that cohort, the cohort of the Japa people, I will never discourage you from making that journey, because I myself, I also made it. You see, it's not always bad news. Myself and others, by God's grace, have built lives for ourselves and family. But it's a life built out of hard work and perseverance. It's a life built from having a clear-cut plan from day one and working towards it. But my advice is this: run away from agents who tell you they will convert your visa to your work visa when you arrive. Run away from all those agents who will tell you what type of visa that it is they are doing for you. Think about it. Most of these agents have not even crossed the borders of Nigeria. They've not even crossed the shores. They've not even gone to Cotonou or even Ghana. Like I told you when I announced this podcast, this is not a lecture, not a tutorial, but it's a podcast to share the experience of immigrants who thrive in Western societies. My business today is to encourage you to ensure that you have a clear-cut plan where you want to travel, to, and why, and to figure out what your plans are when you arrive. Thanks for staying with me till the end. See you on the next one as I continue to bring you exciting conversations and experiences about travel. God bless you. Bye for now. I remain Godswill Emelogu. See you again.